The most dangerous universe is not a broken one. It is a perfect one. Imagine a world where nothing fails, nothing collapses, nothing goes wrong. The sky holds absolutely. The ground supports completely. Every boundary is sealed. There are no gaps, no fractures, no empty intervals anywhere. And because of that, you could never exist there. Not because something destroys you, not because creation refuses you, but because there is no structural permission for you to enter. Birth requires allowance, arrival requires interval, emergence requires space between things. In a universe where everything touches everything else, nothing new can begin. Perfection has removed possibility, and when perfection removes possibility, existence must invent a new rule. This episode begins at the moment that rule becomes necessary. Perfection does not collapse easily. It resists change because it has no visible flaw. The sky still presses downward. The ground still receives that pressure. Contact remains continuous. Nothing has separated. Nothing has rebelled. Nothing has broken apart. So how can birth occur in such a system? Birth cannot be an invasion. It cannot be a force that displaces what already exists. If something must be removed for something else to appear, generation becomes destruction. But destruction is not what the structure requires. What it requires is coexistence. A condition where the new does not erase the old. Where emergence does not demand vacancy. This is the first shift in logic. The universe begins to explore the possibility that addition does not require subtraction, and that idea has never existed before. Before this moment, existence was binary. Either something occupies space, or it does not. Either contact persists, or it breaks. There was no third option. Birth introduces a third condition. Something can arise without severing what sustains it. The sky does not have to retreat. The ground does not have to fracture. Instead, a new layer of reality becomes available. Not above, not below, but within. This is not spatial separation. It is structural allowance. Allowance means the system changes without losing its integrity. Integrity remains. Pressure remains. But now, possibility also remains. And once possibility is preserved, continuation becomes meaningful. Generation is not a creature. It is not a god. It is a rule. A rule that states existence can produce variation without dissolving its foundation. This rule is subtle. It does not alter the visible architecture. The sky still encloses. The ground still supports. Yet something has changed at the level of permission. Permission is invisible. but it reorganizes everything. Before permission, pressure accumulates endlessly. After permission, pressure finds expression. Expression does not destroy structure.
Through primordial structure, relieving
It relieves
without
it.
breaking outer form.
The universe does not split apart. It expands internally. And internal expansion is the first safe form of growth. Growth without destruction is the innovation of this episode. Until now, every structural shift required rupture, ground required collision, sky required enclosure. Each new layer replaced a prior state. But generation refuses replacement. It proposes multiplication. Multiplication allows continuity to remain intact. The system does not reset. It evolves. Evolution requires inheritance. Inheritance requires stability. For something to pass forward, something must endure. The sky endures. The ground endures. Now something else may endure as well. This is the first time the universe permits succession without annihilation, and that is why birth is not emotional. It is structural. Once birth becomes possible, time gains relevance. Previously, time had no direction. Events did not accumulate. They simply persisted. Now, persistence can lead somewhere. Because something can follow something else, sequence becomes meaningful. A before and an after. Without birth, there is only repetition. With birth, there is transition. Transition creates narrative. Narrative creates expectation. Expectation creates tension, and tension, when sustained across generations, produces legacy. The universe has not yet formed personalities, but it has formed continuity. And continuity is the foundation of everything that will come next. Birth introduces asymmetry. If something new can enter, then the system is no longer closed. Closed systems preserve. Open systems transform. Transformation does not immediately appear. It begins quietly. Small variations. Minor distinctions. Distinctions accumulate. Accumulation leads to differentiation. Differentiation leads to identity. Identity leads to power. Power requires context. Context requires generation. Nothing can hold position unless something else follows it. Birth ensures that following is possible, and following guarantees that no structure remains solitary. The universe begins to populate itself. Not through explosion, but through permission. Permission stabilizes tension. Pressure no longer needs to rupture. It can convert. Conversion is more efficient than collapse. The sky continues pressing. The ground continues bearing weight. But now between them, something else can exist. Not fully sky, not fully ground. Intermediate forms become viable. Viability is the first sign of structural maturity. A system that can generate internally without self-destruction has achieved resilience. Resilience supports complexity. Complexity supports hierarchy. Hierarchy supports succession. Succession prepares for inheritance. And inheritance prepares for beings who carry structure within themselves. Generation changes the meaning of presence. Presence is no longer static. It can be transferred. Transferred without loss. The original does not disappear. The new does not dominate. They coexist. Coexistence introduces comparison. Comparison introduces scale. Scale introduces magnitude. Magnitude introduces imbalance. Imbalance introduces competition. Competition does not yet occur, but it becomes imaginable. Birth is not conflict, but it makes conflict structurally possible. And possibility is more powerful than action. Because once something is possible, it cannot be unimagined. The universe has crossed a conceptual threshold. Thresholds are rarely visible. Nothing in the sky shifts. Nothing in the ground fractures. And yet, existence now contains the capacity to multiply itself. Multiplication leads to accumulation. Accumulation leads to density. Density leads to influence. Influence demands balance. Balance requires power. Power requires continuity. Continuity now exists in generational form. The universe no longer repeats itself. It extends itself. Extension means that structure can begin to express strength. And strength will soon take recognizable shape. Generation is silent. No announcement marks its arrival. No force declares its dominance. It simply functions. Function precedes awareness. The universe does not know it has changed, but it has. Now something can arise that carries the structure of sky and ground combined. Something layered, something enduring, something capable of holding structural authority. Birth allows embodiment. Embodiment allows agency. Agency allows consolidation. Consolidation will soon define the next stage of existence. The system prepares for entities that do not merely exist, but organize. Organization requires repetition. Repetition requires lineage. Lineage requires birth. This chain did not exist before. Now it does. And once lineage becomes possible, continuity becomes directional. Direction gives time its spine. Without birth, time is circular. With birth, time becomes progressive. Progression allows escalation. Escalation allows dominance. Dominance requires durability. Durability will soon appear as entities shaped by structural force. Entities that inherit tension, inherit pressure, inherit continuity. Generation has prepared the field. What emerges next will not be abstract. It will be powerful. Power does not begin with emotion. It begins with structure capable of sustaining itself. Birth enables sustainability. Sustainability enables scale. Scale enables dominance. The universe has not yet seen dominance. It has only seen conditions. Now conditions can condense. Condensation produces mass. Mass produces gravity. Gravity produces influence. Influence organizes existence. Birth is the precondition for structural authority. Authority requires succession. Succession requires continuity. Continuity now exists. The sky remains. The ground remains. But something new will soon rise between them, and it will carry weight. Generation does not solve tension, it redistributes it. Pressure once trapped now finds direction. Direction channels energy. Energy seeks form. Form will soon stabilize. Stabilization requires repetition. Repetition produces lineage. Lineage produces classes of being. Classes of being produce hierarchy. Hierarchy introduces stratification. Stratification introduces dominance. Birth is not the end of compression. It is the beginning of structured expansion. The universe is ready for beings who embody pressure. Beings who inherit the architecture of sky and ground. Beings who do not merely exist, but hold. The first generation does not question. It embodies. It carries structure forward. Without personality, without rebellion, pure continuity. Birth makes carriers possible. Carriers make permanence possible. Permanence makes scale inevitable. Scale makes authority visible. The universe prepares for entities large enough to stabilize tension, large enough to anchor continuity, large enough to represent the first true consolidation of power. Generation is complete. What follows will not be abstract. It will be embodied structure. And embodied structure will soon define the next episode. Until now, everything has been conditioned. Now condition can take form. Form will not yet speak. It will not yet rule. It will simply exist as consolidated structure. Generation enables embodiment. Embodiment enables endurance. Endurance enables dominance. Dominance prepares for succession. The universe has unlocked the mechanism of continuation. What arises next will be the first expression of generational power. And power that can reproduce cannot be temporary. Birth does not guarantee peace. It guarantees continuation. Continuation guarantees escalation. Escalation guarantees hierarchy. Hierarchy guarantees tension. The universe has moved from static perfection to dynamic inheritance. Inheritance introduces competition. Competition introduces consolidation. Consolidation introduces ruling classes. Classes of beings will soon emerge who embody structural magnitude. They will not yet be gods, but they will be immense. They will hold weight in a way the universe has never seen before. Generation has prepared them. Birth has become possible. Time has gained direction. Continuity has gained carriers. The universe is no longer trapped in uninterrupted contact. It is now capable of succession. And succession produces scale. Scale produces power. Power requires embodiment. In the next episode, generation will not remain abstract. It will condense. It will take structural form. And the first beings born from pressure and continuity will enter existence. Not as emotions, not as rebellion, but as structure made immense. And that is when time can truly continue.